If you've seen the headlines promising a bigger Social Security check next year, you're probably wondering the same thing. Is this real, or is somebody getting our hopes up again? Right now, 3.6% is the number making the rounds. For an average benefit, that could mean about $70 more each month. Not exactly a trip around the world, but when groceries, electricity, and prescriptions keep climbing, $70 is still $70. There's also talk of another $200 a month. That sounds wonderful. The only problem? Congress hasn't approved it. So before anyone starts spending money that hasn't arrived, let's separate what's real, what's still an estimate, and what's currently just a proposal. That 3.6% figure comes from a group called the Senior Citizens League, which has tracked cost of living trends for retirees for years. On August 12th, they released their latest projection, and 3.6% is where things currently stand. It is not a random guess, it's built on real inflation data. But it isn't official either. It's an early estimate, and estimates can move. In their example, an average monthly benefit of $1,937.53 would rise to approximately $2,007.28. That's about $69.75 more per month, or roughly $837 over a full year, not $850. Not a guaranteed round number. Just today's best estimate, based on the data available so far. Now, your check probably isn't exactly $1,937.53. So here's what that same 3.6% could look like, depending on what you actually receive. At $1,000 a month, that's roughly $36 more. At $1,500, about $54. At $2,000, somewhere around $72. And at $2,500, close to $90. These are simple. Before deduction estimates, your own number will depend on your own benefit and your own circumstances. Would an extra $70 a month actually change your household budget? Tell me below where you'd feel it first. That number isn't final, and understanding why actually matters. Social Security doesn't decide the COLA from one report or one gut feeling. They take the average CPI-W, the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers for July, August, and September of this year, and compare it with the average for those same 3 months from the last year a COLA was calculated. Whatever percentage that comparison shows becomes the next COLA. July gives Social Security one piece of that 3-month puzzle. August adds another. September completes it. Only once all 3 months are in hand does the agency run the final calculation and announce the real number, typically in October. So 3.6% is a solid, well-informed estimate. It just isn't one you should write into the household budget in permanent ink. Not yet. There's a second number floating around, and it has nothing to do with the calculation we just walked through. Senator Bernie Sanders has proposed a plan that would raise benefits by $2,400 a year, which works out to $200 a month. That's a legislative proposal. It would need to pass through Congress before it becomes real, and as of right now, it has not passed. It plays no part in the official COLA formula, and it should never be stacked on top of the projected $70 to make it sound like $270 is on its way. That number doesn't exist yet, no matter how many headlines suggest otherwise. We're not here to praise this proposal or criticize it, and we're not taking sides on who supports it. It belongs in the proposed column, not the confirmed one. If you heard another $200 a month and thought, that could finally give me some breathing room, you're certainly not alone. That's a completely understandable reaction. Just hold on to that hope loosely until Washington does something with it. Even a real official increase doesn't always feel like one once it lands. For a lot of beneficiaries, Medicare premiums take a bite out of that check before the rest of it feels like spending money, so part of any COLA can get absorbed before you even see it. Add in a prescription refill, a grocery cart that costs more than it did last year, an electric or heating bill, gas in the tank, maybe a small repair around the house or a bit of help for an adult child, and that raise on paper can shrink fast. That's not meant to discourage you, it's just the honest picture. And apparently, grocery prices never received the memo that millions of Americans are living on a fixed income. So let's bring it all together, plainly. Confirmed. The final 2027 Social Security COLA has not been announced. The official figure arrives in October, once all 3 months of inflation data are in. Projected. The Senior Citizens League's August 12th estimate is 3.6%, which, in their example, works out to roughly $69.75 more per month for an average benefit. Proposed. The additional $200 a month comes from a Sanders-backed proposal. It has not been approved, and it is not part of your COLA. Here's what we'd love to know from you. How much of a difference would extra monthly income actually make in your household? And which expense has climbed the most for you lately? Groceries, prescriptions, utilities, insurance, or housing? If you're comfortable sharing, tell us what state you're writing in from too, because costs can look very different depending on where you live in this country. If you found this helpful, subscribe and stay with us. We'll update these numbers the moment the next inflation report arrives, and we'll always tell you plainly whether something is confirmed, projected, or simply proposed. No exaggeration, no false promises. And if you know a friend, a neighbor, or a family member who's seen the same $200 or 3.6% headlines floating around, go ahead and send this their way. Nobody should make plans around money that hasn't actually arrived yet. Take care of yourself, take care of your budget, and we'll see you in the next one.